Hey, caregivers, it's me, it's Virginia. Tonight I'm gonna talk more about my story. I've been getting a lot of phone calls, and I thought I did this. I thought I explained how I decided or how I knew I was gonna become a caregiver, but maybe I went over it too fast. I'm getting a lot of phone calls or messages asking how did I know when I was going to become my sister's caregiver? So that's what I'm going to talk about tonight. If you recall, it was very immediate. I got a phone call, and it was funny. It was a Friday morning. The first phone call I got was that she was on her way to the hospital. But she was going to be okay, just a little drowsy. We're not sure what's wrong with her. Not even the word drowsy was used. It was more like she's a little off, but she's going to be okay. They think she's fine. Got her to the hospital, got another phone call about an hour later. And then this phone call is saying that she's in the ICU and something is really bad. So, of course, my next move is to go to the hospital and spend the entire rest of the day at the hospital trying to figure out what's going on. And then at the same time, we're in the middle of COVID. So no one is allowed, at this time during COVID, you was allowed one visitor at the hospital. And if you're admitted to the hospital, then whoever that visitor is remains the visitor. They do not allow you to switch out. Like one week it can't be me, next week it's someone else. So it's that one visitor and that's it, nobody else. So it was my mom, of course, that became that visitor. So like I told you all before, there was about 45 minutes to an hour of CPR that was done. She coded in the ambulance to the hospital. They brought her back, but they induced a coma. Okay, that was a Friday. The following day, on the Saturday, we got a phone call from the hospital saying that things had gone terribly bad overnight. The doctor was extremely apologetic and, just said he wished he had better news for us. So we just asked if we could come to the hospital and meet with the team, with the doctors at the hospital. So we all got together as a family and we went to the hospital. Basically, same conversation. The doctors told us there was nothing that they could do, it was just a bad situation. It had suffered an extremely bad injury and they did not feel like they could do anything to preserve her life. She was on life support at this time and still in the coma that had been induced and had not come out of it. But they were suggesting to us that we remove the life support. And I really thought we were going to. I have to be very honest. I really thought we were going to take her off life support and that would be the end of it. Instead, her brother said that as long as there is life, there is hope, and that we are going to give her some time. I was just really in complete shock and mesmerized. I had no idea that was about to happen. So we left the hospital. Well, we spent a long time at the hospital because even though it was COVID, what they allowed us to do was do a Zoom call with her. They allowed us to do a Zoom call with her, and we were all on the phone, and we basically just passed the phone around and just talked to her, each of us in our own way, had our own conversation. Some of us prayed, some of us cried, some of us sung. It was just an emotional time. When we left the hospital, I was just terribly exhausted. I had no idea, like I said, that we were going to leave her on life support. I really, just being honest, thought we were going to the hospital to release her and let her go. So when I left the hospital and I finally got home that night, I just prayed, God, please help me to have the faith, help me to find the faith that he has. He's believing in her, Lord, if I'm going to support this family, I need to have that same faith. So Lord, please give me that faith. Help me to find this courage, because I don't know what's going on at this point. I really don't. So a few days went on, and somehow I ended up in my spare bedroom, and I don't remember why I was in there, but I was in my spare bedroom, and I felt like the Lord spoke to me and told me that I would bring Eva home, my sister home. And I just said, okay, I'll bring her home if she wakes up. And so a couple days later, when I went over to the house, I went in the house, and Daddy said to me, Virginia, if she comes home, if she gets out the hospital, I want you to bring her home. And I said, absolutely. If she gets out the hospital, she can come home. So it was those two things that let me know I was going to take care of her. Now, the rest of the time, from January to May, she was in the hospital. She woke up in March. And in March was when we decided, and we announced to the hospital that we will bring her home. And that's when I had to learn to be her caregiver. I had to learn to care for her because she was total care. She was total care. I had to learn to do everything for her, which I did. And some other family members did too, because they had to have 2 trained people before they would allow us to bring her home. 2 trained people, and we had to spend 24 hours in the hospital with her, right? Which I eventually just refused to do. I said, there is no way I can spend 12 hours in the hospital with one nurse. That nurse goes home, but I got to stay another 12 hours and train with another nurse. I said, I can't do it, because I can't even stay awake for 24 hours. Okay, so let me fast forward. So that was the moment that I realized I was going to be her caregiver. When the Lord spoke to me, and then when her father asked me to bring her home, I knew I was going to take care of her. Now, I did not know what all it entailed. I really did not. My desire was just, after the Lord told me to do it, to be obedient to her, be obedient to him, and to do his will, and to do what he wanted me to do. It's just really important to me that I am obedient to the Lord, and that I do what he wants me to do. Now, like I said before, I did not know it was going to be this tedious of a journey. Some of the things that I experienced when she was still in the hospital, like I said, I was there every single day. I had to train. I had to learn how to take care of her. And I just remember so many people, even the doctors and even the nurses, discouraged me from bringing her home. And I didn't understand that, because the 8 weeks that she was in the hospital and she was on the ventilator, they kept asking us to take her off the ventilator. And they told us every week after week after week after week, they told us, you need to take her off life support, because even if she wakes up, she will spend the rest of her life in a nursing home, and you don't want her in a nursing home. And they gave us all of the reasons why we did not want her in a nursing home: that she would have an infection, they'll send her to the hospital will clear the infection, the hospital will send her back to the nursing home. And they explained to us that this will be her life. She'll be constantly in and out of the hospital. And so when we decided to bring her home, then the story changed. Then it became, you can't manage this. You can't do this at home. You need to put her in a nursing home where they know how to take care of her, where there's around-the-clock staff, there's a doctor on duty, there's nurses there's a doctor on call, and you need to put her in a nursing home. And it bewildered me that these same people that spent 8 weeks convincing us that we should let her go is now telling us to put her in that nursing home. The same nursing home they told us don't put her in. Okay, so nevertheless, that never sat well with me. And then when I left the hospital, then I'm getting phone calls from other people telling me, Virginia, that's too much. You cannot take care of her. It is too much. You need to just let her go into a nursing home. I was like, okay. But I checked myself after every conversation. I asked myself, Virginia, has anything changed in your spirit? Do you want to let her go into a nursing home? And every time it was no. Okay. So that is the moment. And I think, I hope that you all feel me now, that I understood that it was my role to bring her home with me and be her primary caregiver. Sometimes caregivers don't get that opportunity. Some caregivers are not choosing to step into that role. They're feeling like they're forced to step into that role. And because they're sometimes feeling forced to step into that role, then there are some emotions that come with it, right? I am sharing my story because I understand now, after I've gone through it, that everybody has a different role in this. Everybody is not meant to be the caregiver. Some people are meant to be supports. And some people just aren't able to do anything. Some people are just so emotional after this trauma, injury, diagnoses, whatever leads to a person needing a caregiver. Some people are not able to cope with that. I have seen it break up families. I have seen families just completely devastated because they could not manage their emotions. They could not have healthy conversations with one another. When I come on again, I'm going to begin to share some of those conversations that I had to have with our family because it wasn't always pretty. And I'm going to share that because I think that as we went on, we began to understand that everybody had a different role. And you cannot expect people to do things that they're just not capable of doing. But just because you feel like you're not capable of doing it, you don't get to just sit out either. Like, you should really try to do something. So it's a lot to unpack. There's different roles. There's that person that's going to be there full time. It's that person that's never going to show up. And then there's those people that's going to kind of like be there when you really, really need them, but they're not going to be there every day. And each of those different roles are very important. But the most sacred thing about this is maintaining the family, keeping the family bound together and having those conversations. So I think I've shared with you how I became a caregiver. I think next time we jump on, I'll talk to you about how I managed some of those relationships and how those relationships survived the caregiving journey, because a lot of relationships don't survive the caregiving journey, but we need more relationships to survive the caregiving journey. I really appreciate you all listening to me, but as you're listening, I also want you to begin to think about the caregivers that you know. Think about, even you may be the caregiver that you know. It may be you. You may be a caregiver. But let's start thinking about what we can do different to make this better for caregivers. Caregivers are really struggling out there sometimes, and we just don't want them to be struggling. We want them to enjoy caregiving, and that's what I just keep saying. So there's a couple things I'm doing to make sure that the caregiving journey is better, and this is one of the things, talking to you all, because I'm going to need your support. I'm going to need your help. It's going to take a community. And when I say community, I don't mean Black people. I don't mean women. I mean community. I mean all of us are going to have to come together and understand that there is changes. I'm sorry, I'm playing with my glasses. There are changes that we're going to have to make as a community, a global community, a nation, because caregivers are suffering. That means loved ones are suffering. That means siblings are suffering. That means the entire family unit is in distress because that one person is in distress. So we need to work this out, and we need to come together, and we need to be more supportive of one another. Thank you all for listening. Thank you all for watching. Please continue to share. Let's start having conversations about this. Let's start making caregiving a good experience for everybody. All right, y'all. I'm going to sign off now. Thank you so much for listening.